everyone, welcome to UTV Gooner and our show, the shooting Lone Star with Ram from the Austin Gooners. Hey bro, how are you?
Hey man, all things considering, doing pretty good, right? Like sun is shining, you know, but the end of the sun is set on the Premier League title race, and we went out with a whimper. It was very disappointing, uh, but I think after listening to all the podcasts, reading all the articles, I'm feeling a little bit better about just kind of looking back at the whole season, even though it's not over, um, and just kind of turning my eye towards this final game against Wolves, and then just another off season of and reflecting and doing all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been a rough 4 days, right, with sports wise, but you gotta just kind of keep your head up and move along. How you feeling?
Oh, sad, bro. Just sad watching this Man City Brighton game that's going on right now. If it meant something for us, we wouldn't even be doing this show right now. We'd be doing it a little bit later after the game because
Yeah.
we want to see the result. And watching it now, it's actually 1-1. Just before we started recording, I said to you, Man City just scored, but they disallowed it, the Haaland's goal. So it's back to 1-1. We could have
Oh
been
yeah.
like cheering on Brighton if we were within a point of City or a point ahead of them, within range. But, we know obviously that game against Nottingham Forest is going to be difficult for the players to get motivated for it. The league was gone, even though it wasn't officially done, but it was done. We know that. Same against Brighton as well. We saw once that City had won that game away to Everton, like, there's really little chance of us winning it. So that's demoralising, and it's hard then, obviously, for the players. And you could see again against Nottingham Forest, the performance was not at the levels that's been this season. They were really up for it. Obviously, they're still fighting relegation. Yeah, bro, it's just been a really sad end to what's been a really good season. Many great highlights in it. So it's a deflated feeling. If we were third through most of the season and then we came up into second, we'll be looking at it differently. But the fact that we were top for so long, and then it's just where it's fizzled out at the end. It would be nice if we could have taken it to at least the last game. I had the excitement of it going to the last game. As I'm saying, watching this Brighton Man City game now, I don't even want to watch it really. But yeah, bro, what were your thoughts on the Nottingham Forest game?
I think I had mentioned previous week how I was hoping and expecting that the players would show up, be professional, and yes, even though the title was pretty much done, I mean, we could have still pushed City a little bit. Um, and if you look at the stat, if you look at like possession, if you look at the momentum chart that I started to really love looking at, we had all the momentum. We dominated possession. We had 82% of possession, which is mad. We had a ton of shots, but the big numbers is, no big chances. And Nottingham Forest had two big chances. They had six shots. They missed one big chance, and then the other one off just like, a mental mistake. Right as we were basically dominating possession, they turn it around and score on us, and we just look like a team that was uninspired. And I don't know if I mean, it had to do obviously with, everything I just said. Like, the league was out of our hands. The season, the sun was already setting, but it was almost as if, like, even the starting lineup that we had. I mean, we had Thomas Partey playing right back, which was, I'm assuming there was some kind of Arteta just trying to kind of have his eye toward the next season and kind of seeing a different formation, different tactics, so to speak. But you could just tell. I thought we played decent, right? I mean, it's not like they dominated possession on us. It's not like they were like our defense was horrible. Like, we did well. It's just we didn't look cohesive, or just it felt like a preseason game, right? Where we're just trying stuff out. And there was really no communication or like synergy between Thomas Partey and like Bukayo Saka. And you've seen over the season, like, Saka and Ben White have just kind of built this partnership up where, I mean, they just look good. When they're on, they're on. And this one just felt real, out of it. And yeah, nobody really. stepped up, and I was kind of even hoping like for the substitutions coming in. We had Eddie and Kedia come in, Kieran Tierney, Fabio Vieira. Was kind of hoping that we'd see some kind of like spark, but nothing really happened, man. And it was kind of disappointing. So, I think it's just one of those games where you just kind of like chalk it off and not really spend a whole bunch of time on it, right? Because like it, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say that the players didn't try or they weren't professional. I think they went out, they put effort in there. It's just we tried something new and nothing worked, and nothing. It's just unfortunate that it turned out the way it did because all the stats otherwise said that we could have won that game and we just didn't. So it's as bland as a game. I think if we were in a tighter title race, it would have been infuriating to lose a game that way we lost it. But given the fact that it was all basically over, we played like it, and it is what it is, right?
Yeah, bro. Unless we talk about that. And
Yeah.
then for us, man, just trying to forget about that game and just how the last couple of weeks have gone, man. It's been difficult to take. So City had won the title without having to play. It was tough as well. I saw a couple of clips. Couldn't avoid them, unfortunately, just like when I'm scrolling through on my phone, a couple of clips of their players celebrating. Tough for us to see that. But credit to them. What a great team they are. It looks like they're going to go on and do the treble into the Champions League final now. When we done the last show, they were about to play Real Madrid, and no, actually they just beaten Real Madrid, wasn't it?
It just beat them, yeah.
They just done beat Real Madrid. So yeah, were talking last week. It looks like they're going to go do the treble, and they've won 12 games in a row now.
Yep.
Brighton might stop this run now, but for them now, obviously, it doesn't matter. They do drop points in these last two games in the season, but they've been phenomenal, and we just got to give a lot of credit to them. As you said in last week's show, got to tip your hat to them. They are one hell of a team.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean the way they're going to end this season, they're going to be going for the treble. I think I saw a stat. They sat a lot of starters against Chelsea, and
Still
someone
one.
just kind of
Still
kind of
one.
they still won 1-0. Like Chelsea sucks, but they just looked at all the cost of the entire bench, and their bench was worth well over $500 million.
Wow.
Like it's ridiculous, man. Like, and that's where we want to get to, right? Like, and it's not all just about how much money you spend. Like, you obviously have to develop the talent, and the the players have to respond and perform as well. But this Manchester City machine is been going on for a while, and I think Arteta has said it. When at the after the Man City game against them, right? The second time we played them, like it just showed where they are and where we are, and it just shows that gap. And yeah, nothing really sunk it into me until yes, you watch the bench against Chelsea and 500 million dollars sitting on the bench. And Chelsea still didn't really do anything. They still dominated. So it's just yeah, they're just on a different level, and it's still so remarkable that we were able to remain in the race for as long as we did. Um, so yeah, man. I mean, it sucks, but I mean, there's still so many incredible memories from this season. Just how far we've come, and then at the same, we see where we've progressed to the point where finishing second is such a disappointing thing. Um, and how much more we have to go. So it's part of sport, man. I mean, it happens all the time. You see it a lot in basketball, like teams make this incredible run and then they get swept in the playoffs, and it stings to get swept. But then you can always look at like, all right, well, look how far we've gone to get here. Like, and what matters now is how we respond. Because last year, same thing, right? We were chasing top four. We fell at the end, and we can say that we responded last year and improved this year. So now it's how are we going to respond next year to what happened this year?
Yeah, for sure. We're on that upward trajectory where, as you said, last year couldn't seal the top four. This year improved, got top four easily, missed out on the title. So hopefully, if we continue with this next season, we just missed out on the league. Hopefully, we can go on and win the league comfortably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully. Man City and a lot of other teams are saying to say about that. But one thing I wanted to talk about as well, though, is we're seeing all this criticism. It's ridiculous. We know there's a lot of hate out there for us, but we're not being given enough credit for how well we've done overall this season. When you look at where we came from last season, the season before that, eighth, couple of times in a row it was eighth and fifth, going up to second. And then you look at some of what the other teams have done. Look at Chelsea, for example. They should be getting so much criticism. The fact they've spent 300 million, I think it is, something ridiculous like that. And they finished
Yeah.
12th, like in the second half of the table. You look at the likes of Liverpool, how they're falling away. Look at Man United, Tottenham, all these teams are miles behind. And all you hear is about how bad our season's been. Our season's not been bad. We've performed really well this season. I just feel we've not been given enough credit.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, and it's the same stuff that people were saying even last year, like, oh, this was your one chance to finish top four. Everybody else is going to improve. And now it's just like fill in the blanks. It's oh, this is your one chance to win the title. Everybody else is going to improve. And I was like, okay, yeah, but it was Arsenal, right? It's not like you can sit and look at the season and be happy at the progress you've made, and that doesn't mean we've settled or that we have low standards. It's you can't just always be upset. Like it's kind of like I don't know, like a Real Madrid fan. Like if they don't win the Champions League, it's a failure of a season, and like that's an incredibly high standard to carry on. It almost feels miserable to like I'm not a Madrid fan at all, but like listening to like and reading about it, like that must be a miserable existence to just be that successful to the point where like, oh, we don't get Champions League if we don't win it, the season is a waste. It's like no, there's the journey is part of the fun, right? And so not to say that we don't want to get to that level where we become regular Champions League finalists and chasing titles. Like obviously that's what we've wanted, and that's what has driven this team to be where we are at today versus 5 years ago. And like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, somebody can say yes, Arsenal bottled it, but then at the same time, they'll say in the same sentence, "Oh, you really think you were going to beat this City team? Like, come on, like." You can't have it both ways. Like it's got to be one or the other. And this City team has just been insane. And they're going to probably finish with 93 points. We had to be perfect and we weren't. And it is what it is. But the progress has been made. Yes, Newcastle's going to get better. City, Liverpool, Brighton is looking amazing, right? Villa has had like a nice little run. Tottenham, as much as you want to banter them, like they're definitely going to make some kind of move, right? Um, Chelsea, I don't imagine that they're going to be 12th again next year. Like they're going to maybe improve a little bit, but they seem more like the mess than anything. But like, yes, every team is going to get better and look to improve. But so is Arsenal. Again, just the fact that we're sitting here reflecting on the season and saying, hey, man, second place was pretty decent, right? Like pretty badass. That does not mean, oh, we're going to settle. Like that's it. That's the standard. Like, oh, man, we're disappointed, but you can also still look at the progress being made and just be like, there was a lot to enjoy about this season. And like, it's just really, there's so much black and white when you're like, when there's like, when it comes to football chatter and like, there's a lot of gray area too. And like, I just think there's a lot of this season was just a very gray season, a lot of good, but the bad happened at the worst time. And I think that's why everybody is just so upset. Like, I just want the season to end so we can just kind of reflect on it and then just move on and then gear towards doing it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, bro. Already thoughts ahead, looking ahead to next season. Obviously, transfer windows coming up. Got to talk about some of the contract renewals. Do that in a second. I want to end the show on a positive note, talking about that. But just gonna go into next weekend now. So it is the final game of the season. It's Wolverhampton at home. Nothing on it. It's difficult in these circumstances. We've been talking about that recently. The game with Brighton and then Nottingham Forest. But it is the last home game, so we'll hopefully be able to go out with a bang. Really nice performance, get a lot of goals. I can see from the players' point of view, though, we know it's the summer break coming up. We've had a long season, some of them with a World Cup. It's like don't want to risk injury as well. And yeah, you can see it's going to be difficult for us to be up for this one. But what are your thoughts on our last game against Wolverhampton and your
Yeah,
prediction?
man, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be kind of like the feeling or the game against Everton last season, where you know things ended tragically, and we end the season at home and really show out and do well for the fans. I think the fans are going. I'm hoping the fans do this. I hope the fans show up and be loud and support the guys and just make it like a celebration, man, because I think they need that. They deserve it again for the incredible run that we had. Sure, it's disappointing to finish second, but this team overachieved, and I think Wolves is another one. They're very um back and forth, up and down. They're not a very good team this year. Um, they're relatively healthy. I don't know how motivated they're going to be. In years past, I used to watch Wolves a lot just because they're kind of enjoyable. Not really that this year. Kind of forget about them. They are 13th in the table, just behind Chelsea. They're safe. They're not going to move up very much with the winner or loss. So, kind of banking on them maybe being a little bit less motivated than us. And I hope we have a good performance, man. Um, yeah, I hope I'm thinking like a 3-0. I was kind of hoping that it'd be a high scoring match against Forest. Um, but I think I'll be a little bit more accurate here, saying like we'll win 3-0 against Wolves on Saturday or Sunday, excuse me. I just think all the pressure's off. A lot of good things happening, especially with our boy Bukayo Saka. So I think it's just going to be an opportunity for us to celebrate, and I think the players are going to play freely, have a good time, and then just ending one of the longest seasons ever, pretty much. Um, yeah, man, finish strong. I think we can do it.
Yeah, bro, I think gonna be nice, easy win, finish the season with a bang, put a good performance. And as you said, that game against Everton last season, we were outstanding. Let's hope, yeah, we get a similar sort of result, get 4 or 5 goals. I'm gonna go for 5-1. I think we've struggled with keeping clean sheets. I can see us again conceding, but I see us scoring a lot of goals. So I'm going for 5-1. So I just wanted to go into the relegation battle now for the predictions. Everything else is wrapped up, as we know. Top four, Man United just need 1 point in their last 2 games, so that's kind of wrapped up. And the one that is still ongoing, though, that's going to go to the last game of the season, is the relegation battle. So there's 3 teams in it that are fighting for it. Everton, who are in 17th, we've got a 2 point lead over Leicester and Leeds, who are 18th and 19th. And looking at the goal difference as well, Everton's goal difference is worse than Leicester's, but better than Leeds. Could be quite an interesting last day. We're going to get your predictions of M3 games. All right, so start with Leeds versus Tottenham.
Ooh, Leeds versus Tottenham. Um, I think Leeds are just hapless right now, man. Like 2 games in a row, they've taken leads. Leeds have taken the lead 2 games in a row, and then just absolutely blew it. Um, Tottenham, man. Let me take a moment to just relish in the Tottenham just getting absolutely battered at home. Last home game against Brentford, potentially uh, Harry Kane's last game as a Tottenham Hotspur. That was amazing to watch. Loved it. Um, but I think Leeds is going to get the upset, if you will. I'm going to go with 2-1 Leeds United. That'll put him at 34 points.
Okay. That'll make it really interesting. Let's do Leicester versus West Ham next.
Leicester and West Ham.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think West Ham has their eyes on the European Conference Championship match. I don't know who they're playing, but they're going to play for a trophy, and I think they're relatively safe. Um, Leicester, on the other hand, oh yeah, they're right there on the bottom. I don't know. That's a tough one because it is a few days away to that European final. Um, Leicester they look actually worse than what Leeds look like. So I'm going to pick West Ham to win that match 2-0. Leicester just looked horrible.
Okay, and then the last one is Everton versus Bournemouth.
Oh, so if Leeds wins, that puts him at 34. Leicester loses, keeps him at 31. Leeds is going to win and put Everton in 18th. I think Bournemouth they're safe and they're also, I think, playing with a little bit more, um, I guess, urgency, if you will. Although Everton, that's going to be a good matchup. Oh man, I'm gonna have to put that match. I'm gonna have to take my tablet to the bar and watch it there because that's gonna be a good one. Can you imagine a scenario where both Leicester and Everton go down? I think that would be a dream come true, but I don't think we're gonna get that. So I think Everton win at home because it's at home for them. I'm gonna say 2-1 at home for Everton.
Okay, so that would mean they'll be safe, and
Yeah.
they'll be Leicester and Leeds that go down.
Hmm.
Interesting to see how that pans out. Only thing that's left to be concluded at the last game of the season. Still so disappointed that we're not taking the title race down to the last game, just finishing that Brentford Man City game 1-1. As I said, in different circumstances, we'll be watching that game and could have been cheering on Brentford and be happy right now that City had dropped a couple of points, but it wasn't to be. That's done with now. As I said, we look forward to the future. And talking about that, as I mentioned earlier, great news coming out for us this week that Saka has signed his contract renewal. We heard last week as well that Ramsdale signed his. Two key players, young players, part of our future. We want to keep our young players together. We've got so many good young players. Got to get Saliba signed up. That's still to come. Looking forward to that. But it's important that Martinelli renew his contract. We've got so many great young players. Core of our team is really young, and we want them to stay together, build together, and it's just amazing news because even though we were very confident Saka was going to sign, until it's actually done, you're always going to be a little bit worried. So it's done now. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I don't even. I've never been in that situation. The PTSD is real with Arsenal supporters. How yes, it's all assured until it's not, right? And then you know this 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 fan base has experienced being heartbroken and betrayed before. And then on hindsight, already, Fabrizio Romano put it out and was like, Saka didn't want anybody else. He negotiated with nobody else. It was always Arsenal. It was just about getting the numbers right. That's when it's all about the agents and things like that, right? Like he seems to be one of these guys that just worries about playing football. He's living the dream. He wants to be as best as he can be as an individual player and part of a team. And he just let his people take care of it. Um, and yeah, I think, it's been great because I think even last year we had Gabriel, or maybe way early in the season. I know for sure we had Gabriel extend his contract, get a little bit of a raise. Ramsdale, as you mentioned, Martinelli for sure. Um, Word is also out that Reece Nelson has now been offered like a longer term contract that he's going to start bowling over. We were able to convince Eddie and Kedia to stick around. So we're keeping a lot of these guys, and a lot of these guys are buying in. But the big one to really let people know was like, we got to keep Saka. And for sure, yes, let's skip ahead and say like we need Saliba. Like we would love for everything that's been going on at the start of his Arsenal career, being loaned out, talk of him like being unhappy about being loaned out so much. It'd be great to keep him, and I'm really hoping that we do. And at the same time, I think the biggest piece was keeping Bukayo Saka. And so, yeah, I was so excited when it was just officially done. They took the pictures, they released the videos. I don't know if you had a chance to do it, but Arsenal they set him and Ian Wright up in the middle of a Emirates Stadium to do like a little interview. So it's just been incredible to see that. And so I think that's just an incredible way to end the season. It would have been great to see him sign the contract and lift the trophy. But hey, man, what he said in the interview, right? The time is now. Time is on our side. He's extended the deal. It's done so. And you know what? A lot of people are talking about like, oh, we wish it would have been 5 seasons or longer, or this and this. It's like a straight up 4 year contract. Like there's no deal for an extension. And a lot of people are interpreting that different ways. But for me, I'm thinking, you know what? That's good because in 2 years from now, we're going to definitely have to go back to the table and talk about extending. But I think that puts Arsenal as a club in a position to where we can't just waste time, right? Like we have to continue to show improvement. And so even though it's not like long term in terms of like longer than 5 years, a 4 year deal starting this year is still pretty awesome, right? For a 21-year-old. So he'll be 25 at that point. And I think like I said, yeah, just it puts everybody in a position to say like, hey, we're serious about winning now. And yeah, I think Saka has shown that he's serious about continuing to improve. And I think that shows on a club level that we're committed to him and to the core group that we have and continuing to grow. So it's just an incredible boost to what's been sort of kind of a whimper of an end of a season. But like I said, it's part of the journey, and this is a great part of the journey. Like we've had a couple dark weeks. Bukayo Saka just kind of boosted everybody's mood, and I'm happy with it, man. He's been my favorite player. He's been my favorite player since he's came out. Uh, when he debuted, like at 18 years old. So I'm so happy to continue to watch him grow as an Arsenal player.
Yeah, bro. In terms of the length, nothing's come officially from the club. It's just for speculation. It could be longer.
Yeah,
We don't know. There could be something in there with a right to have a 1 year extension or something. So rumors have come out as 4 years, but that's nothing's official, you know. So
very
yeah,
true.
I hope there's a massive buyout clause in there as well, in case someone wants to try and get him. You know, massive 500 million or something buyout clause. He is our star boy. He's
Exactly.
the future for us, along with, like I say, the core group of young players that we have, and we want to keep them together. Saliba's a big one now. Got to get him hopefully signed up during the summer for a long-term contract as well. And then we've got to make some big moves in the transfer window, which I look forward to discussing with you shortly. We'll leave that for
Yeah.
the summer. But yeah, well, difficult times for us. Been a tough couple of weeks, but the future is bright, as I've been saying last few weeks. As hard as it's been, we've got such a great future. Ramsdale's another key one. He's been a great goalkeeper. Amazing signing for us. He's been getting better and better each season. From last season, got even better this season. Still young. Again, he's just going to get better and better. Odegaard, still young. Gabriel, as you said, Martinelli. That core group of players that we got, we just need to add to that. Obviously, want to get as many world-class players in as we can. Add us to our squad depth. Add some experience as well. Like we were saying last week, the trophies will come, and just got to keep pushing and keep looking forward.
Yeah, man. Like I said, we've made. I think the best way to put this season in perspective, even with the disappointment, is looking at how far we've come since the beginning of the project, and look to where we are now, and and the standards have been raised, and not only have the fans been saying it, but Arteta himself, the players himself. Saka said in his interview with Ian Wright, like everybody here is young. None of us have won anything, and we want to win trophies with Arsenal. Like we want to do it with this club. So, this is their mindset going in. And yes, it's disappointing, but at the same time, you can't just hang your head and be negative. Like you gotta continue pushing. And so as players, imagine how I always tell people, like fans, if they want to be super negative, like if you're feeling this way, imagine how they feel, and they're putting this is their entire lifeline. Like this is what they're doing 24/7. If you're feeling sad, like imagine how they feel. So we just got to continue as a fan base to continue to back them. Obviously, yes, we can be disappointed, we can be upset, but then you got to kind of just carry on and move on with it. And I think it's happening. I think once the season's over, we'll fully just kind of wrap it up, put a bow on it, and then just say, all right, let's see what we can do to build on it. So it is what it is. But hey, one more game, one more match to kind of enjoy it, and then we're not going to have football until like mid July, and then from there we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure, bro. So that's all from us. Thanks for your time, bro.
My pleasure, man. Good talking to you. We'll talk to you again soon.
For sure, bro. Look forward to it. So thanks for watching, everyone. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share.